Many years ago, in a village in China, a little girl played on the bank of a lake while her father prepared to start another day's work. Noticing his daughter's sadness at seeing him leave again, he entered the waters and began to play with her, turning those tears into smiles. Suddenly, however, the man began convulsing uncontrollably within the lake and was pulled by the water by something that came from its depths. The girl kept laughing, unaware of the danger threatening her father, until he disappeared completely, leaving only bloodstains on the surface. Frightened, the villagers hastily hired a demon hunter who began to chant ritual songs and throw bombs into the lake. A violent explosion erupted in the water, leaving everyone agape. From the lake emerged a gigantic stingray, which the hunter claimed was possessed by a demon responsible for the man's death. The villagers were relieved, believing they had captured the monster, but a voice in the crowd objected, saying that fish was just a common stingray, nothing more. It was then discovered that the unknown man's name was Tang, a demon hunter in training and a monk's apprentice. Upon hearing this, the other supposed demon hunter accused Tang of colluding with the creature, inciting the crowd to turn against him. The villagers, seized by fury, attacked the young man, tying him up as punishment. With the celebration underway, many jumped back into the water, believing it was now safe, while Tang remained at the edge, dejected, watching the scene. The party, however, was abruptly interrupted when a woman was swallowed by a colossal beast. Horror gripped everyone. People ran to the shore thinking they were out of danger, but they were soon confronted with reality. The creature extended its tongue and grabbed the villagers who believed they had escaped. The little girl tried to run to her mother, but the beast seized the moment to snatch the child and attempt to drag her into the water. Neighbors rushed to help and cut the monster's tongue, holding the girl at the edge of the bridge, but the creature leaped and swallowed the girl. Desperate, the mother dove in, trying to save her daughter, while Tang fought to free himself from the ropes by biting them with his teeth. Paralyzed by terror, the woman watched the monster emerge, trembling with rage before her. In supplication, she begged the demon to return the child, but the response was to devour the mother as well. The beast destroyed nearby buildings, causing everyone to lose balance and allowing a baby to slide toward the lake, separated from his mother. Luckily, Tang managed to break free and leaped toward the platform, catching the baby as the creature lunged at him. In an act of agility, he trapped the monster to the structure and used the animal's weight to propel himself toward the people. Tang returned the child, but saw that the fake demon hunter was hiding cowardly. Then a giant emerged from the crowd, a young woman of enormous proportions who made the ground tremble with every step and launched herself at the beast. With a powerful leap, she threw the creature off the platform, which fell on top of the fake hunter before he could flee. Gradually, the creature began to transform, disintegrating until it assumed the form of a young man who seemed harmless. The villagers, furious, prepared to kill what they believed to be the demon. But Tang intervened to stop the lynching, proposing an alternative. He took from his bag his various instruments and, among them, a book titled The 300 Nursery Rhymes, willing to use his musical gifts to try to convert evil into good. Tang began to sing, so out of tune that it left both the demon and the audience confused. His performance and lyrics were so terribly strange that they enraged the creature, which then attacked the man furiously, destroying everything around. When it seemed Tang would be killed, a woman grabbed the demon and began to beat it repeatedly until finally imprisoning it in a magical cloth and turning it into a doll. The savior revealed herself as Dwan, another demon hunter, and the villagers thanked her as the true heroine. Feeling humiliated by his failure, Tang heard from the master that converting evil to goodness is never an easy task. The master also told him there was another demon to confront, one that lived in a nearby restaurant and used human flesh as an ingredient in meals. Determined, Tang went to the restaurant at night and entered the establishment, only to discover the place was full of customers savoring the dishes served there. He was greeted by a woman who began to show him around, but Tang, able to see through the illusions, demanded she reveal her true form. The demon charged at Tang as he fled terrified, but he was saved when Dwan burst in and struck the demoness repeatedly until she turned to dust. Then she proceeded to attack everyone in the restaurant, tearing the creatures apart one by one with her rings, and called for the boss to show himself. A young man approached from behind her, but Dwan reacted immediately and engaged in a fierce fight with the being, exchanging violent attacks. She gained the advantage, threw the man across the room, and then summoned a shower of rings that she fired at the demon, deliberately aiming at the creature's face until it broke the skin and revealed a pig's snout. The demon began to defend against all her attacks using a rake, closing the distance toward the woman and landing furious blows that forced Dwan to protect herself. Dwan leaped onto the creature and began to kick, forcing the beast to show its true form, a demonic pig. She restrained its limbs and immobilized it, shouting for Tang to come help. She had locked the demon's essence in its throat and demanded that Tang suck it out from the pig. The man tried to summon the courage for the task, but recoiled at the monster's horrendous face until, by an almost hysterical accident, Tang became swept up in the madness, kissed the pig, and ended up sucking the essence into his mouth. Dwan quickly removed the essence from the man's body and stored it in her sealing bag. However, the demon proved too strong to be contained so easily and began to grow uncontrollably, breaking apart and assuming a monstrous aspect, forcing the two to flee as the building collapsed around them. They escaped to the edge of a lake where Dwan, exhausted, injured, and in pain, in her fragility openly displayed her feminine attributes before Tang, who was stunned when she asked him to press her wounds to staunch the blood. Soon Tang did so, bleeding himself as well, seemingly without much concern, and when Dwan closed her eyes and leaned in for a kiss, the man suddenly remembered his monastic vows and fled the woman immediately. The next day, Tang returned to his master, lamenting another failure, and the old man instructed him that to subdue the pig monster, he must seek the help of a king among demons, known as Wukong, who was imprisoned 500 years ago beneath a great mountain by the gods for causing turmoil in the heavens. At night, while traveling through the forest, Tang fell into a trap set by a group of people who seemed hostile, but discovered they all worked for Dwan, who planned to force the monk to marry her at all costs. Tang vehemently refused, asserting that the monk's code demands equal love for all in the world, and Dwan, enraged, imprisoned him while deciding what to do next. Her sister tried to convince her to adopt a more feminine posture and use dance to seduce the man. But upon witnessing Dwan's awkward moves, she placed a talisman on her to control her gestures and force her to perform the seduction, though the charm began to fail, and Dwan ended up attacking Tang repeatedly until, by accident, the talisman flew and affixed itself to Tang himself, making him shake his body exactly like the dance while the guards rushed in. The men, scandalized by the monk's ridiculous movements, beat him again until the sister, realizing the mistake, ran in to stop them. But the confusion turned to panic when the pig demon arrived and the group tried to flee in a vehicle. The pig caught up and launched itself at the car, and Dwan pushed Tang out of the vehicle before the collision, which destroyed everything around. Fortunately, no one died in the accident, but the survivors soon found themselves cornered, and the demon planned to take revenge on the guild leader for being wounded in the previous fight. Suddenly, a man with a tiger aura charged at the beast, overpowering it, throwing it into the air and delivering a devastating kick that forced it to retreat. It turns out this man is also a demon hunter, accompanied by the mighty Bigfoot, and by the self-proclaimed prince and his 4 servants, whom he orders to throw flower petals non-stop, although his servants are terrible at following orders and continuously embarrass him by calling him important prince. The 3 begin arguing over who gets the honor of killing the pig demon, which infuriates Tang, who says they do it only for money and vanity, undeserving of being true demon hunters. Tang tells Dwan to return the nursery rhymes she took and begins shouting at her for wasting his time. This makes the woman furious, and she tears the book into pieces and throws them into the air. She starts attacking Tang in anger and tells him he is nothing without her and that he would have died long ago. Tang rises in silence and sees Dwan trying to flirt with the prince to make him jealous, but he begins to walk away while the girl watches him sadly. After traveling for a long time across the lands, Tang finally reaches a mountain covered with lily pads despite the absence of water. He sees a large lily blossom growing through what seems to be a hole and jumps, only to find a crazy man who hugs and kisses him repeatedly. Tang realizes this must be Wukong and tries to ask him for help to defeat the pig demon, But the man only wants to leave that place and desperately tries to trick the monk into removing the seal, claiming he is capable of capturing the monster. However, Tang does not fall for the trickery, causing Wukong to attempt to escape in frustration. But the roots in the cave trap the demon and begin punishing him for disobedience. Tang begins to feel pity for the man and offers him a banana, which softens the demon's mood as he begins teaching the monk how to defeat the pig monster. Since the demon once loved his wife greatly, they need a beautiful woman to dance under the moonlight, which will attract the monster to the cave, allowing Wukong to trap it as well. Suddenly, Dwan enters the cave upon hearing of the plan and offers to be the bait for the pig demon. Tang sees the woman and tells her to leave, but Wukong begins to flirt with her as he teaches her to dance. It becomes quite evident that the monk truly loves the woman, as he feels great discomfort at the sight of the affectionate display. At night, Dwan begins to dance under the moonlight while the monk plays the music for her. The man watches the woman and falls more in love with every move she makes. Soon, they hear a monstrous roar and see that the pig demon has arrived. Wukong begins to converse with the creature from inside the cave, causing the monster to peek beneath the lilies, only to be sucked in completely by the god's seal. Dwan transforms the pig demon into a doll and hands both monsters to Tang, allowing him to use his nursery rhymes to convert the evil creatures. She places a ring on the monk and wants to marry him, but Tang becomes extremely disturbed and would rather cut off his own finger than be in a relationship with her. Dwan sees this and removes the ring herself, trying to return the book she glued back together, but the monk rejects the book in anger. The woman sees the man's conviction and departs in tears, promising not to follow him anymore in the future. Tang leaves the cave and looks at the moon in sadness, suffering from the pain of his true feelings. He hears Wukong ask a favor to remove the lily flower that blocks the entrance, as he also wants to enjoy the moonlight. The monk cuts the flower, but immediately notices something wrong as all the lilies are consumed in flames. Wukong laughs maniacally inside the cave before finally breaking free in a ball of fire that lands directly in front of the monk. He grabs the man and tosses him like a rag doll, then catches him again beneath the mountain, mocking the man for being so easily deceived into releasing the Demon King. Tang tells the monkey demon that he has not escaped, for the Buddha is watching everything even at that moment. In a fit of rage, Wukong begins violently ripping the monk's hair out, eventually leaving him bald, but becomes furious to see that the man's will remains intact. Suddenly, the demon senses a presence behind and sees that the 3 demon hunters have arrived. The ferocious tiger fist prepares to attack the Demon King, but Wukong charges forward and quickly kills the man by biting the hunter's throat. The colossal foot sees this and begins to transform, growing a giant leg the size of a bus, and kicks the monkey demon with immense force, knocking him back. The old man leaps into the air and stomps on Wukong, but the Monkey King pierces the foot and kicks the old man into the air, knocking him right on top of the prince. He tells the nannies to throw the old man away and begins hurling numerous swords at the demon, forcing Wukong to escape into the air while the weapons continue to chase and attack him wherever he goes. The demon draws his weapon as well and begins knocking the swords away. But the prince combines all the weapons into one and sends it flying at the monkey. The attack was so powerful that it began to break the demon's staff, but surprisingly, it hit only the mighty armor when it made contact with the monkey and shattered into pieces. Wukong roars furiously at the attackers, creating a heat wave that turns the demon hunters to dust. He turns his attention to the monk, but surprisingly, Dwan leaps out and begins defending the man even after what he said to her. The woman starts attacking Wukong with her rings, but the weapons shatter upon striking the Demon King. She charges at the monkey, but Wukong easily stops her by striking her head and hurling her backward. Tang crawls to the woman, and Dwan whispers to him, asking if he ever loved her. The monk begins to cry helplessly and tells Dwan that he always loved her since the first time they met. Upon hearing the man's confession, Dwan finally dies with tears in her eyes while Tang holds and kisses her, taking her ring and placing it on his own finger. Before the man can finish mourning, Wukong takes the girl's body and throws it into the air, blasting it into 1,000,000 pieces. Suddenly, the demon feels something wrong and retreats immediately, only to see that Tang has finally let go of all mortal attachments. The monk begins to read the book Dwan assembled and chants the words, creating a massive Buddha that dominates the entire planet. The giant statue begins to thrust its palm toward the planet, creating a massive shockwave upon entering the atmosphere and igniting its hand. Wukong sees this and refuses to give up, concentrating all his energy into his body and quickly transforming into a colossal gorilla demon, dominating everything while screaming furiously. The giant palm approaches the demon ever closer, and Wukong tries to lift the Buddha at the last moment, managing to stop the attack while struggling under the immense weight. However, the demon is no match for the god's power and is crushed under the massive hand. Wukong is taken to a different dimension, where Tang has finally conquered the demon. He proceeds to remove Dwan's ring and attaches it to the monkey's head, making the demon his new disciple. The monk's master tells the man that he is now ready for his journey. He will obtain the sacred scriptures of India, accompanied by the demons who are now his students, so that they can reduce the suffering of humanity.